You all right?
No, I'm not all right. Pig sick.
You're pig sick?
I'm pig sick. I'm fed up.
You own a pig and it's not very well?
That'd be easier if my life would be easier if that was the case.
Well, you've got to really... There's an age-old method of making a pig feel better again. You give it ointment.
See, even that doesn't make me laugh. I've got one of those faces that says, "Go on, ask me what's wrong." It's
okay. What's wrong?
Got hacked on Facebook, didn't I?
Yeah. So people have been trying to look for us, and so not only did it affect your own private account with your millions of followers, but it also affected the Monkey Batman page. So we've had literally 2 people ask us where the page has gone. Actually, that's not fair. We've had the Jacobs, we've had the Leak, and we've had the Ellams say what's going on.
Yeah. By the time people listen to this, normal service will be resumed. But I think, we're Monkey Batman. I think something like Gerbil Joker has taken it down or something.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Not that Monkey Batman has anything to do with any of the DC property at all.
No, none whatsoever. It's 3 separate words, 3 separate icons to what people's problem is.
No idea. It's nothing to do with the fact that we would really like to see a monkey dressed as a superhero.
No comments. Anyway, should we go straight into questions, because I've got some grumpy questions.
Well, so do you, up north where you live?
Yeah.
Just south of the north of the wall.
South of the north of the wall.
Yeah, because Adrian's Wall is like the wall, isn't it? In
what's it called?
Hadrian's Wall?
You said Adrian's
yeah,
Wall.
I probably did, yeah.
It's like, what? Is this like Adrian Charles has a wall up in the northeast?
It's like Adrian Mole. It's all of his unsold books, all of the unsold books.
How long is the wall? 13.75 miles.
Is that how... Very good, actually. Yeah, brilliant joke. Okay, so you're like north of the south of the south of the north of the wall, because you're almost a wildling. You got the beard, but not the hair.
I'm really going for it with the beard, and I'm like,
I'm slightly longer than I am, and it just reinforces my double chin. I don't like it.
I'm going for the Viking look. Do you think I'm getting there?
I think you're going for the Iceland look, but more like the people who shop in Iceland rather than the people who come from the country.
Yeah,
so do you use the expression Mardy where you are?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of yours, is it, Mardy?
Such a Mardy bum.
Okay, right. So is that what you are today? Are you Mardy?
Proper Mardy-like.
Okay, so I hope you're going to rise above it and be positive and give me some non-Mardy questions. So
I'll try my best. I've got some Mardy questions.
Okay, well, my questions, because I thought you might be in a little bit of a mood.
Are they going to cheer me up?
I hope so, because they're quite childish, and there'll be a bit of reminiscing in there for you.
I didn't expect adult questions from you, Greg. There's the news.
Well, not proper. Well, adult questions, yeah, like a little chef on the A1M, but not adult questions.
Yeah.
So, okay, right, you go first with your grumpy question.
All right then, I will. Did you ever watch Catterick with Vic and Bob? And there's the character that Vic Reeves used to and go, "I know, I will, I know." Go on, then you go first. I'm gonna wanna.
You just sound like a teenager. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh God, so unfair. So, have you ever been disappointed by service standards or a product to the level that I am right now? See what I mean? I'm struggling to pull myself out of it, to be honest.
The level that you are right now.
Yeah.
No, but yes. Have I been let down by blue chip, internationally renowned branded companies? Yeah, absolutely. And actually, it really, this is a 10% at least business podcast, and a lot of the business we speak about and a lot of the people we deal with are small, owner-managed businesses.
Yeah.
And it makes you appreciate just how hard these guys are working to maintain their service standards. Yeah. When you deal with someone who basically has turned around and said to you, "We don't care, just start again.
You're just that big." Exactly right.
And anything we can do to kind of relinquish a little bit of control over businesses like that, the better. So, next rather than however easy it is to jump online and do something, see if there's a local business who can do it for you, because you're going to get a better service and a better relationship on go.
100%. And to be honest, I think you've pretty much nailed that and turned it into a real positive. So that's, I think my next thing might, that like, I know you've got a question, but my next question might be a little bit more positive because.
Okay, right. So I'm going to give you one of my, when the Ice Cream Man played his little green sleeves version on a xylophone, driving round.
Yeah.
Did you run and did you go for an ice cream, Mr. Whippy Flake, whatever sauce, or did you go for an iced lolly on a hot, never-ending summer's day when you were a child?
Okay, yeah. I know the answer.
Go on.
But first of all, you do know who my ice cream van man was when I was a little kid, don't you?
No, and how has this never come up before? Go on.
Duncan Bannatyne was my ice cream van man.
I thought you've mentioned that. I thought you were joking when you said that.
Oh, 100% certain. Thick Glaswegian accent and really bad customer service. I dreamt of having a cider lolly, and every now and again I was lucky enough to get a cider lolly, because do you know when it was like, when you get a slush and you drink all the stuff, it's just ice. Cider lollies seemed to never, you could never drain it of its juice. It was just perpetual. However, in reality, I just used to give them 5 pence and say, can I have a 5 pence blob? Now, that isn't a blob like some people think of as a blob. It wasn't something for the weekend from the ice cream van man. It's just, you just put your hand out and you put a blob of ice cream on your hand.
My mind is blown.
5
You
pence
used to
blob.
hold out your hand and he would put, so no cone, no flake, no raspberry sauce.
No.
So he used to scoop it. He didn't even.
He had a whippy, like he had a whippy. It was called Cat Weasley's van, and he had a whippy, and it was green sleeves, the music from memory. And I mean, he did all the other stuff. He even did oysters and everything.
I love an oyster. I do love an oyster.
Never had one.
Have you not?
I've had an oyster, but I've never had an ice cream oyster.
Next time we're together, we'll find you an oyster. So for me,
what's yours? What's yours, Greg? What's yours?
Very similar to you.
Yeah.
I used to like the beer lollies. They used to have like a panda shandy.
Oh yeah, like a shandy one.
So like that hadn't or a badger beer or something like that. But, just tasted a little bit like it. So I used to enjoy one of those every now and then. But for me, the screwball, the ice cream with the little bit of bubble gum in the bottom of the plastic thing and then sauce on top. That's what I was running towards, a screwball. I did like an oyster, but I found an oyster quite cumbersome in the heat because it would splurge out the sides.
Screwball with a wooden spoon.
With the wooden spoon.
And here's the thing with the screwball. The bubble gum in the bottom would be that cold that you'd break your teeth trying to bite into it. So you have to warm it up in your mouth first. Yeah. The second thing is, did you ever come across a 2-ball screwball?
A 2-ball screwball? I did come across a 2-ball screwball. I never had one. I could never afford it. I'm a 1-ball man.
A 1-ball man or a 1-ball man?
A 1-ball man. I mean, my nickname was Hitler. So, but it wasn't, by the way. I couldn't grow the facial hair.
That's a really cruel nickname for a child.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah. Right. Okay. So that was my first one. Hopefully you're feeling a bit more upbeat.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't going to be as bad, but it's still a little bit like negative. It's like, what would you put in room 101 right now? What I mean, because obviously it's situational, right? But if you could put one thing in room 101, it gets like, it disappears forever. What would it be?
Fake news.
Oh, shavings. I've got a whole article on that today. Oh no, the real news stories that I do.
Just fake news. This whole thing where people are going online and sharing stuff that they are saying is fact, and it with no research, no qualifications, and then when people debunk it. So we've got the whole thing going on about vaccines right now. You've got anti-vaxxers, and I don't want to make a statement either way. However, you have these people that are arguing with established facts. And then when you go back to them and say, hang on, that's not true, their response is, well, that's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. And the problem is, it's not an opinion. You're trying to debunk facts. So I think the whole fake news thing is horrible and dangerous. It can be really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
So that would go in that would go into my 101. And actually, I'm seeing you later in the month.
Yeah. That sounded like a threat, didn't it? I'm seeing you
the privilege
in the month
of spending time in your wonderful region with your beautiful people. One of the things I'll be talking about is a little bit of fake news. And it's quite scary how just a couple of generations down, people start taking things as fact when they've got no basis in fact at all, because they've been shared and spoken about a lot. So fake news for me, that would go in there. What would go into your 101 other than Mark Zuckerberg?
Don't, because you'll ban me for life. Right now, it's when people drive down the street, or even worse, pull up outside your house with music blaring really, really loud because they like that music.
Yep.
As if they're saying to the world, hey, listen to this 90s dance track, aren't I cool? And you're sat in your front office going, just because it's school pickup time doesn't mean that I want to listen to Soul to Soul at the top of your volume.
Are you quite close to a school?
No, but where the school is situated, well, I mean, we can't see the school from where we are, but it's like, you'll see when you come to our region, we live in a village, we're at the edge of the village. The school is further into the village, but people park because there is a little cut that they can walk through to get to the school.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, and mate, I don't mind people parking outside the house. I don't even mind them double parking. I don't mind any of that.
But you don't want to listen to their playlist, do you?
The school was there before we moved in, right?
Yeah.
It always did. So some people will move next to a football ground and then go, I can't believe people park outside my house on a match day.
Yeah.
Really? No, that isn't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the lady that pulled up with the tight acid perm hair in the Range Rover Sport earlier on today didn't have to be playing Back to Life quite as loud as she did.
Like it. I also, it's gone on since then as well, isn't it? It's like, when you're walking down the street and someone is listening to music, but they're listening to it on a Bluetooth speaker, which is on the strap around their shoulder.
Yeah, what's it all about?
It's like, and to our listeners, you might be going, wow, this has turned into grumpy old men. I really don't have, I'm not one of these people that says, turn your music down in your earphones because I can hear it bleeding out your ears. That doesn't bother me. I kind of get that there's going to be a bit of ambient noise. What I don't get is that someone is going to be carrying a Bose double boomer bass treble speaker around their shoulders, making me listen to an obscure track.
That being said, when we were kids, the coolest kid in school had a boombox on his shoulder.
Yeah, but that's when people also used to carry around a roll of lino and pretend that they could break dance. So no,
in a feeler or a Leslie hoodie. I tell you what, it's the equivalent. That bleeding of noise is the equivalent to, and this annoys me equally as much, particularly on a train. Right? Is hello, yes, yeah, but they'll have headphones in. They go, yeah. Now, Bob Mortimer does an amazing train guy, doesn't he? Yeah, a cup of cappuccino. Yeah. No, you F off. No, you F off. Oh, my God. It's scallywag. And
it's when they go, because their first thing is, yeah, I'm on the train, but it's okay. And the first...
Who's it okay for?
Exactly. Yeah. And the first thing that happens is you look around the whole carriage, everyone looks up at the side to see, am I on the quiet carriage?
Yeah. Even if you're not in the quiet carriage, though, I mean, right, here's the reality. I have been on a phone call on the train before.
Is it back to reality after coming back to life?
I have made a phone call on a train before, but I have gone to the bit in between carriages where there's quite a bit of background noise because I don't want to inflict that call on people in the carriage. Does that make sense?
Look, I've taken a call, but I whisper. and I listen vastly more than I speak. And the first thing I say is, yeah, I'm on a train. Can I give you a ring back, or is it urgent?
Yeah.
You know, and then if it's urgent, it kind of gives you, oh, all right, I need to deal with it. But yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's
Do you go like this? You look on the couch, you go, it's urgent. I have to take it because I'm so important.
It's I reckon half the people who take phone calls on trains, there's no one on the other end.
It's exactly the same as, can you remember 25-ish years ago when mobile phones were just becoming a thing? And you'd have that person that would get a mobile phone and say, oh, yeah, I need it for work. What? What do you mean you need it for work? You're a student.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, I need it for work. I need to be contacted. What? Now, these days, if you woke up tomorrow and mobile phones had never been invented and you're walking on the streets going, how on earth do people talk to each other? It'd be really strange. But back then, it really wasn't, because you would literally queue at a phone box for a phone call. But anyway, that was my second question.
Well, there's an urban myth that everyone talks about in there, that like when mobile phones first came out, there was always the kid in school who got one, and he's walking through the corridor going, yeah, it's brilliant, yeah, it's amazing, and then the phone rang. I think everyone knows the person that happened to, although no one actually saw it. I think, you know, I think South Korea have done propaganda to North Korea on that person, but no one has actually seen the phone ring while someone was pretending to talk on it.
No.
So yeah. Okay, right. So my next question,
yes,
in the vein of lifting young Russ,
yes,
is what's your favorite pick and mix sweet?
Bubblegum flavored fizzy bottles.
They're really good. What, the pink and blue ones?
Yeah, they're nice.
They are. Yeah, they're really good.
White Jazzies, Snowies, I think they're called. They're quite good.
I like them as well. I like the cheap white chocolate. So when you get the cheap white mouse or the little ice creams or
the skull with the pink eyes.
Skull with the pink eyes is a great one. Yeah.
Yeah. What's yours?
I'd have to go. So I love the cheap chocolate. I know I shouldn't. I know it's probably, you know, goes into my stomach and kills me from the inside, but I really do love the cheap chocolate. However, I also love either something cherry flavored.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you've never had a cherry taste like that before.
Yeah.
That kind of cherry flavored. Or you get these round orange fizzy sweets with a little bit of red in them, and they taste like peaches.
Oh,
I love those.
Yeah,
they're quite rare, but they're very good.
They're quite rare. Yeah. I to be honest, I like fizzy tangy sweets. So Tangfastics are great. Love a Tangfastic. But you can never have just one. You have to have two at a time.
What? So you do the fangs?
No. Well, you don't get them in Tangfastic.
No. You get two cola bottles. You put cola up there, and they look like.
No, I always match a cola bottle to a cherry, so I get cherry cola.
You get cherry cola, but well, you would. You're a connoisseur of fizzy sweets. Now, I'm not surprised. You know that as a Saturday job, I worked in Woolworths.
Yeah.
And I am not surprised that poor old Woolworths went out of business, because it was in the day where we used to weigh the pick and mix, but there was no link between the scale and the till. So you used to then input the pricing, and never me, of course, never me.
Never.
Honest as the day is long on the 21st of December. Honest as the day is long. But a lot of my colleagues, when their mates came in, they would come in and they would cram the bag full of pick and mix.
Yeah.
And it would be like 15p. Like, because the person would just enter it. Oh, yeah, 15p, please. And so much so that I don't know if you remember, but just before Woolworths went under, they were one of the first to adopt you pay for this size of cup, and however much you can fit in, you fit in, because they were so aware of the amount of people that were just losing their money hand over fist because of it. So yeah, go on. What's your final cheery, jumpy question?
No, I think this is a cheery one, actually. You've cheered me up a bit.
Good.
Right. A lot of our listeners will know that you are a drummer.
Yes.
And what made me think of this is, bless him, Mr. Waters died, drummer in the Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
8-year-old. Fair play with Charlie, all the way he was playing. If you could be a drummer in any band in, like, I suppose, history, and you're there now, boom, on the sticks, which band would it be?
So there's two answers to this, and one is an answer that a stand-up comedian gives, and I cannot remember who it is, but it's a brilliant answer. Do you know? I think it may even be Sean Locke, the late great Sean Locke, which is tragic. But whoever it is, as I said, and it may not be Sean Locke, but they say you want to be the drummer in Coldplay because no one knows who you are, and you earn as much as the rest of them. So, you can go about your daily business. You get to tour, you get to drum, all that kind of stuff. You're paid millions, and no one's ever going to flock you, mob you on the streets.
You just walked on the street.
So, however, my real answer would be, because of the music they play, would be either Ocean Colour Scene. So it would be Oscar from Ocean Colour Scene. I would take his place, or some kind of big 80s, Guns N' Roses or Bon Jovi, just because they're proper kind of drumming tunes.
Okay. So yeah, when you said big 80s, I was thinking, what, Curiosity Killed the Cat? But clearly not.
Probably meant early 90s, didn't I, rather than 80s. So I know you're not a drummer. You used to play in a pit band. But if you...
I was the pony.
If you could suddenly have the licks of the best drummer in the world, and you got to take his place or her place in a band, which one would it be for you?
Well, I think it would be in Ben Folds 5, when the Ben Folds 5 were together, when it wasn't just Ben Folds, and particularly because of a song called Brick, which is absolutely amazing. The drums in it are brilliant.
I don't know.
You're writing it down to check it out, aren't you?
I am absolutely writing that down.
Yeah. Rocking the Suburbs, the drums in that are amazing. Check out Rocking the Suburbs, you'll like that one more. Okay. So
I got another question.
Well, I was just going to say, whilst we're talking about Curiosity Killed the Cat, can I give a very quick Curiosity Killed the Cat trivia?
Anecdote.
Yeah?
Yeah, go on.
So Curiosity Killed the Cat had a celebrity fan very early on in their existence, and it was Andy Warhol. To the point where Andy Warhol produced one of their videos and is actually starring in the video, and it is the most surreal thing. If you go onto YouTube, put Curiosity Killed the Cat, Andy Warhol, it's got like the band walking down the street in New York and Andy Warhol walking next to them. And then Andy Warhol does this whole kind of Bob Dylan thing where when like
he's holding the lyrics up.
Yeah. And it's like, that's Andy Warhol, and it's not long before he died, so it's quite an iconic video. But
I'm gonna look that up. I may even.
I've given you some homework today already.
If I can find a link to it, I'll share a link on our new Facebook page when we finally get it up and running.
Yes. Well, that's my challenge. Yeah. What's my final question, Gregory?
The final question is, in your proper childhood years, so between the ages of kind of 6 and 11, before you were too cool for school, all that kind of stuff, what was your go-to birthday meal? Like when your mum said to you, what do you want for your birthday tea this year?
Yeah.
What would you have?
KFC.
Would you? So yours would be a take. See, mine was never a takeout. Yours
it was either KFC or go to the Beef Eater.
You would
Beef Eater or KFC. Yeah.
So mine.
We didn't have McDonald's in the Northeast then.
Mine.
We had to go to London for McDonald's.
Would be. We're going to come to that in a moment. We would go to B Jams.
What?
B Jams.
What?
Remember B Jams, the predecessor to Iceland?
Oh, I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, they were taken over by Iceland, and I would get scampi and chips, and that would be my birthday tea. I had a couple of years where I went, and this is no word of a lie, where I went over to Brains Faggots and Chips in brains, faggots in gravy, and that's a real thing for our American and Australian listeners. They're basically like balls of offal, like a meat dumpling served in gravy. So I went over to that but I kept going back to scampi and chips. That was my go-to birthday tea with a Sara Lee chocolate gatto as my birthday cake.
Got to make sure you lift it out, let it defrost.
You do, yeah. You had to take it out in good time. I'm impressed that you went like to proper restaurants and stuff.
There was a period of time in our life before my dad was made redundant where we had some money, so we were able to do stuff like that. But then there was a big recession, wasn't there? Early 80s and that like changed. I mean, don't get me wrong, everything worked out okay. My dad got another job and everything, but there was a few years where couldn't have KFC. But I remember getting a bargain bucket with my mates and then wishing I had the bargain bucket for myself. You know, why have you invited these kids round? They're your friends, but they're eating my dinner.
Yeah.
You know?
There's only 14 pieces in there.
It was a bit like Smithy in Gavin and Stacey when they're ordering the Indian. And he's got, and then she says at the end when they've ordered everything, and she goes, "We can just put it in the middle and I'll have a bit." And he goes, "Whoa, what?" Yeah.
It's really weird as well. If you come from a family or an upbringing where you do kind of stick stuff in the middle and everyone has a spoonful and all that kind of stuff, normally with Indian or Chinese takeaway, it is weird when you suddenly experience people that don't do that. Yeah, they're like, I'll order my main and my, because like for me, the thing, like you wouldn't do it in any other cuisine. You wouldn't like go to an Italian and all order a plate of pasta and stick it in the middle and have a go.
What's your pasta like? Get off.
Exactly right. But it is very specific, the kind of Indian and Chinese takeaway type thing. But I'm a big like, I'll have the plate with all different things on. And then you meet people, they're like,
like a buffet would be good for you.
Oh, buffet's great for me. Yeah. But see, with a buffet, I always go after the value. I always go after the protein. You know, like sweet and sour chicken, leave the onion, leave the pineapple, leave the green peppers. I'm picking out the bits of chicken in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is weird when people are like, that's my main, that's my side. And I just, it's very strange. Very strange indeed.
I am a bit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I am a little bit like if we get a Chinese every now and again, and like, Lord, what do you want, Jill? She'll order, and then the kids, what do you want? If Harry's girlfriend Lily's round, she'll go, I'll have this, and I'll go, oh. Now there's a bit of me goes, oh, it sounds nice, but I would never think of saying, can I have some of yours? I'd order it as myself.
Yeah.
And Jill say, should we all have a little bit? And I'm like, I ordered this because I wanted it. You know, there is that little bit of, I don't mind people having a bit, but I don't want to be left with the scabby bit of what I really wanted, and then a bit of mushroom fouillon.
Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Well made.
Hey, do you know what time it is?
Questions. Very good.
Do you know what time it is?
Please tell me it's Chico time.
Business news.
It's not Chico time, is it?
It's not Chico time.
Because you can get delirious if you take a life too serious.
Oh my God!
It's Chico time.
You know the lyrics, don't you?
I know a bit. I know a couple of the lyrics. Yes. Please rescue my tattered reputation by giving me an opportunity to be serious and comment on something.
I can't help. I'm in the gutter with you because I went to see Chico at pantomime in Darlington years ago
when he was at the height of his fame.
And the whole joke was there was a big clock in the background, and every time he came on, they went, "It's Chico time!" That was his catchphrase. Anyway, business news. I tell you what, I've got quite a bit to get through, so I'm going to go quite quick. Labour shortage in the UK has led to a worry that the potential booming economy is going to be hindered by not being able to fulfill demand. Let me just give you some crazy statistics. I've got the top 10 most under-provided careers in the UK right now. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
In reverse order at number 10, carpenters or joiners, 6,000 needed in the next year.
Yeah.
Number 2, metal workers like welders, fabricators, 19,000 needed in the next year just to fulfill the demand that currently exists. 24,000 cleaners needed.
Yeah, I can believe that.
In at number 6, Sales or retail staff, 26,000 of them needed.
I'm waiting for care workers to be on this list.
Next is chefs, 30,000 chefs needed.
Wow.
Next one are people that work in primary education, not just teaching staff, but everybody in primary education. 30,000 of them needed. Number 4, care workers, 49,000 care workers needed.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of pleads for care workers. I just can't get the people.
Just can't get the people. Next one, third, software engineers and programmers, 69,000 of them needed.
That surprises me, actually.
Surprised me as well.
I'll comment on some of these as we go through.
Okay, then next, number 2, nursing staff. So not care workers, nursing staff. 79,000 nursing staff needed in the next year.
Are you going to tell me hospitality staff is at the top?
No.
Go on.
Drivers. HGV drivers particularly. A shortage of over 100,000 needed just to keep up with demand. I mean, what's scary about that is, if you're leaving school right now, surely the careers people need to go in, do you want to drive a wagon and earn 40 grand a year? And the kids are like, yeah, then. You know, it's like, there are loads of opportunities there, surely. And I'm going to get political for a split second.
Well, I was about to launch into a what did we expect kind of.
When you close the borders to Europe.
I know.
And literally, by your actions, not physically, but by your actions, send people home.
Yep.
Who's going to do the jobs then?
Well, so I'm surprised that hospitality wasn't on there, because I don't know what it's like up your neck of the woods, but when a couple of years ago when you went down, when you went out in London, the majority, what it seemed like, is the majority of the bar staff were
Australian.
Southern Hemisphere, yeah. So either Kiwi, Australian, or South African.
Yeah.
And you know, they were over on ancestry work visas for a short amount of time, and they plugged the holes. You know, when you went into NHS, the absolute heroes for nursing staff, and a lot of the specialist nurses and doctors were not originally from this country. You know, they had come in on work permits, and they were plugging the holes. Now we haven't got that anymore. As you said, we've closed the borders. We've made it difficult from our nearest neighbours to come in and work, and we're now trying to kind of reforge these relationships where with countries further afield. So you've seen there's just been a trade deal done with India, for example. And that's well and good, but it's going to take a while for people to kind of to bleed through. And you know, my daughter's just started an apprenticeship today. She's started an apprenticeship in. She's working for Gatwick Airport. It was voted the second best apprenticeship in the UK, and she's doing it in engineering. And
nice.
Originally, she wanted to go into the airline industry, but because of COVID, they've kind of withdrawn all of their engineering, aircraft engineering apprenticeship. So she's landed this one, and I could not be prouder of her. But I remember someone saying to us that over the next 5 years, there were going to be a 50,000 person skill gap in the airline industry alone. And you know, where are we going to find people to fill this? What I don't want to see is retraining like we had in the early 2000s, where you had solicitors that were fed up with their job and retrained as plumbers and electricians. I would much rather see people like Abby's 17. So she's just finished GCSEs. She's the oldest in her year, so her birthday was early September. I would much rather see apprenticeships being offered in place of A-level and university places, because this idea that everyone should go to university, I think, is misguided, because you have people massively in debt with degrees that aren't necessarily worth the paper they're written on, struggling to pay the debt and find jobs that they feel like they deserve, where they could have had 5 years of on-the-job apprenticeships and gone in earning a really good wage. I think for me, that needs to be where the world goes.
So that was our political statements. That was it.
So
I tell you what, because we could talk about that for an entire podcast. So I'm going to move on.
Yeah, I think we need to. However, what I would say is, if you could go into one of those sectors, what one would it be and why?
That's the one I came from, and that is sales and retail.
You'd go back into retail?
Yeah. And you?
I'd love to be a truck driver.
They earn mega money, don't they?
I'd love to be a HGV, and some of this stuff may be solved by technology. I know in certain parts of the UK they are trialing self-drive trucks now, but there still needs to be a driver present. So whilst it might extend the working hours and therefore the kind of demand on the network, you're still going to need HGV trained people. But yeah, I don't know why. I think it's quite romantic. It's quite a romantic life, the whole combat. I bet it's not. I bet
a romantic life in a lay-by with pulses and cocktails just up the road. Anyway, I'll move on. I'll move on. IKEA shortages across 1,000 product lines. Right, now this ties in with the previous article. However, it's not meatballs, is it? They've still got meatballs.
I would hope they still have meatballs and hot dogs. That's surely though, whatever they haven't got enough of, they can just nick bits from other kits, can't they? They can just you can have a leg off one thing, a leg. Now I want to know: is this a shortage because of delivery drivers? Is this a shortage because COVID factories are covering with backlogs, or is this a shortage because of a blockage of the Suez Canal?
All of the above,
because
it's compounded itself. It's I think the phrase is it's a perfect storm.
Yeah, and there's also, because the building industry are seeing it at the moment, aren't they? Where like things that cost 20 quid a year ago are now 45 quid.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's a lot of it going around. I also wonder whether or not some companies are saying there's a shortage because they don't want to pay the material costs. They would rather just put out what they can put out rather than having to, because if you double the price of a product and the customer goes, you're just trying to make money out of a bad situation, you're kind of in a lose-lose situation. You have to up the price because of the materials, but then the customer thinks you're just trying to take advantage of them. Whereas if you just say, look, we just haven't got it at the moment, you're going to get disgruntled, but people aren't going to go elsewhere. I mean, if IKEA were doing it, what's everyone going to do? Kind of like shabby chic up their nan's old sideboard.
Well, it's also, it doesn't work across every product range, does it, in every retailer? Because if you're out of toilet roll, you're not going to go, well, I'll have some cucumbers then.
Exactly.
It doesn't quite work.
That was an interesting substitute that you put in there, Russ.
It's not what everybody uses instead. Particularly the cucumbers that have like little nubbles on. Because they've got a cleaning.
Because they can get right up there, can they?
All right, I was thinking like a loofah, but if that's what you want to think,
you were thinking like a what?
Moving on. So, one of our favourite multi-billionaires, Jeff Bezos.
Oh, penis rocket himself.
That's the man, penis rocket. Old penis rocket Bezos. He's got himself a new company starting in the UK, and it's an age reversal company, and they're working on genetic technology to create creams, injections, and surgery to reverse that, not just halt it, reverse the aging process. I mean, if that isn't a billionaire wanting to be young forever, I don't know what is.
That smacks of when Mr. Burns found out that Bart Simpson had his same blood type. He was like, you come live with me just in case I need a kidney. That really is. I mean, that is the start of every dystopian movie you've ever seen in your life. Like the ones where Ryan Reynolds ends up swapping a body with a billionaire, and
it's got Gattaca written all over it, hasn't it?
There was a movie where Mick Jagger acted in it, and he played the head of a security thing, and I think it was early 90s, but it was called Free Jack.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it was about, you could transfer your consciousness into another body, but that body was meant to be, you know, brain dead, and it, of course, it turned out that it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to watching that space. I really do.
I'm looking forward to developments there. I've got one more bit of news.
Go.
Business news.
I feel like the to-dos are lifting your mood.
They are lifting my mood.
Good.
And this news article lifts my mood as well. One positive to have come out of the COVID situation is that street markets, pub marquees, and street eating and drinking is to stay in the UK. I mean,
I really like that, because whenever I go to Europe, one of the things I'm envious of is the cafe culture. And a lot of people say, "Oh, yeah, but it's because they've got the weather." It's not. You go to Germany, you go to areas of, you know, all areas in France. You go to the Netherlands, you know, Belgium. They've all got that wonderful cafe culture where people are sitting around outside. Normally in Germany at 7 o'clock in the morning, drinking a beer before they go to work. It's amazing. And I am very jealous of that. I love that cafe culture. And I really hope we embrace it in a positive way. I like that. I reckon we should do an outdoor version of Monkey Batman.
We should, in a pub somewhere.
In a pub somewhere, we should record it. Outside in a pub.
Outside a pub. Let's wait till the summer to do that. The thing for me is, every town, I mean, we were in London last weekend, and staying in East London, and we travelled into London, and every time we go to London, there's a new bit of, like, because what we do is we don't really get the tube around the centre. We'll get the train in and we'll just walk everywhere and cover miles and miles and miles, because you see bits that tourists don't see, right? And at one stage, we walked from Spitalfields Market, and you pass all of these repurposed buildings, warehouses, spaces where they've put food markets in, they've put pop-up bars in there, and it's just amazing, the repurposing of space. And the thing that stopped us doing this in the UK is, unfortunately, in the 80s and early 90s, we had a bit of a reputation for football hooliganism. And in Europe, people go, I'll have a little drink, then I'll go home. What we'd be doing is go for a little drink, phoning the missus, going, "I'm staying out," and then just like it's just it. So hopefully, COVID has made things a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, it all stems back to the licensing laws, doesn't it? So the opening hours and the kick out time, and so it's ingrained in our culture to drink quickly when we have the chance, you know, and it's a real, that kind of binge mentality is a really bad thing that we have, and I'm like, no judgment at all, but it came in because they didn't want the air raid wardens drunk whilst they were on duty, so they put these licensing hours in place. So it just hopefully we can, you know, let's be honest, during COVID we were all blending childhood ice lollies with vodka at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon during the first lockdown anyway. So, you know, I don't think we need to binge drink anymore. So hopefully that, and I agree with you. I love seeing, you know, box bars popping up, you know, street food and all that kind of stuff, and giving small businesses the opportunity, you know, where they don't have to go for big retail space. They can set up from like essentially a barbecue, you know, people with a barbecue and a bar are serving really good authentic cuisine now at all times of the day. Yeah, it's brilliant. I hope it stays with us. So
that's all the business news. But I tell you what I did. I got an email earlier on today from a very popular common podcast platform. Saying, improve your podcast style. Click here. And I was like, you cheeky get. You know what I mean? It's like a personal trainer walking down the street and going, "Oh, fat lad, you need to get in the gym." It's like, "Oh, I'll come and move my business to you then." Well, I'm Mr. Podcast Provider.
Don't take it personally. They haven't even listened. They were just fishing.
Don't talk to me about fishing either. I think that's how I got hacked. So it's like you're bringing it all back, right? Well, I'll tell you what I have got. Right, who'd win the fight?
Go for it. I'm gonna open my Google because I'm not as up to current affairs.
Oh, you'll know who these people are because they've been all over the news for all the wrong reasons. But then I'm going to change it into who'd play them in a film, and that allows you, as I'm saying them, to be thinking about that. Right? See what I've done there, and then I'm going to say who'd play them in a film, who'd win the fight. Oh, this is multi-level, so we're going to have to go quick. So, who'd win the fight between Dominic Raab,
right,
and Michael Gove? Oh, because I think Gove's quite tricky. When you saw him on the dance floor and he was giving it that, I think he's some kind of ninja.
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go Dominic, I think.
Yeah, I mean, please tell me you're not looking them up so you can see what their physique's like.
I might be.
I would have said Dominic Raab all day long. So he's the next one. Who'd play them in a film?
Well,
so let's go Dominic Raab first. Who'd play him in a film?
So he's quite a good-looking lad. I'm going to go with someone that I used before. I'm going to go with Johnny Lee Miller.
Does he just play everybody in your life?
Yeah.
I think Johnny Lee Miller could definitely pull him off. See, I've gone Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, he'd do well.
Because he's a bit chameleon-like these days with his acting. He's started getting into serious acting, hasn't he? He did that thing where he was a spy. What about Michael Gove? Who'd play him? I've got a really quirky one.
Who played Ron Weasley's father?
Oh, it was the guy who was Barry out of Alvid's Pet, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. It was the guy out of the Fast Show that used to open the door and go,
Mark
"This
Williams.
week, I have mostly been eating turnips."
That's it. Yeah. I would say Mark Williams.
Yeah, that's quite a good one. Oh, yeah. Now, I might have gone for this one just for the next question. I'd go Ray Winston. I may be shoehorning Ray Winston into this just for the next question, but I reckon Ray Winston. Shut up, you muppet.
Okay, right. Well, let's do my first one versus your second one.
Okay.
And your first one versus my second one. So my first one was Johnny Lee Miller.
Yeah.
Versus Ray Winston.
Ray Winston smashing his face in.
Well, you say that, but I mean, and because he's a proper boxer, and he's often said, boxing gives you the confidence to walk in.
Who's this, Ray Winston?
This is Ray Winston.
He is out of shape though.
He's a big man, but Johnny Lee Miller he doesn't do it for a living. So he's 64 now, Ray Winston.
No way.
64. Johnny Lee Miller is 48.
Oh, a year older than me.
And let's have a look at him.
Oh, he's fairly fit because he's
still in shape.
Yeah, he was in that Sherlock thing, wasn't he? Elementary. That's it. Ray Winston. Some of the films he's been in. He was in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
He was in Black Widow.
He was in Black Widow. He was in Black Widow. He was a main character in Black Widow. No spoilers there. No spoilers. So the thing with Ray Winston is, right? You mentioned a line there where you said, "Oh, he's a big man," right? Favorite line in any movie ever is in the film Get Carter, where they're in the multi-story car park in Gateshead, which was a listed building, prefabricated. It's now been knocked down, so it can't be that listed. I think it was falling down. And Alf out of Coronation Street was the gangster. He was like he ran all the fruit machines and everything in Gateshead. And he's threatening Carter, and Carter he slaps him, and he goes, "Oi, you're a big man, but you're out of shape. And to me, it's a full-time job. So behave yourself." Brilliant line.
It's a great, and the tragedy of that line is when they remade Get Carter with Sylvester Stallone.
Mickey Rourke.
Michael Caine played the opposite part, and old Sly had to say that line to him, and I could actually see a tear in Michael Caine's eye
until he thought of his pay packet.
Like, and he was like, "Yay, money! That's okay."
Yeah, that's
right,
me.
Okay.
Oh, but you did answer the other one. It was the other way around, wasn't it? So
hang on, I'm going to say Johnny Lee Miller would take that.
Okay. I'm not arguing.
It would only take one good punch from Ray Winston, though.
Yeah, it would, but I think Miller could dance around him and wear him out.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. So Mark Williams versus Sacha Baron Cohen.
Sacha Baron Cohen has superior reach. And
he's got the height, isn't he?
He's got the height, superior reach, better physique.
How old do you reckon old Ali G is now then?
50?
Spot up, 49 years old.
Yeah.
Mark 49 years old. Mark Williams
55, 56, 62.
Yeah. So Sacha's got it all day long, isn't he?
Yeah. And then so the winner of
Sacha
Baron Cohen would therefore take on Johnny Lee Miller.
I'm going to go Miller.
Yeah. Oh, well, I enjoyed that.
But who would win between Ray Winston and Mark Williams?
Oh, Winston would smash his face in.
It's gotta be.
Williams wouldn't even get in the ring.
This week, I've mostly been eating through a straw.
Yeah. Oh, well, I tell you what, I've got to finish us off, mate. I haven't got a business idea this week because
I love it when you finish me off. Go on.
Well, I'm going to go for a happy ending if that's all right. Hey! You set them up, I'll knock them out the park.
You knock them out.
So, oh dear. I haven't got a business idea this week because this week I've mostly been fighting against a faceless multi-billionaire. Which was a little bit like somebody firing what's it called, catapult at the side of an AT-AT.
Yeah,
just not going to work. So I've been distracted, but I have come across a seldom used word.
Lay it on me.
Titty nope. T-I-T-T-Y, titty, nope, N-O-P-E. Titty nope.
Is that something to do with talking?
No, it's not to do with talking.
Is it not? Okay, go on. What is it?
Have you ever had like some toast with jam and butter and you end up with crumbs on the side of the plate? Or you have a pint and there's always some dregs in the bottom?
Yep.
The dregs or remnant foods on the plate or a receptacle are titty nopes. I was hoping that bit would be a bit funnier because of the name, but it's not, is it? It's just I feel a bit like that not Rachel Riley, Susie Dent.
I don't think we can bring that back. I think there's too many connotations and too many people will just call it titty norks.
Oh, that'd be a better word, wouldn't it? So I think titty norks would make a great idea for a business.
I was trying to think of a business idea because I've experienced recently humble bragging.
Humble bragging.
Have you heard this concept? It's where people put stuff out there on the media, and it's meant to be motivational, meant to be inspirational, but in there somewhere is basically a little brag about look how good I am.
Oh no, I've not. I think I've come across it, but I didn't know it was called humble bragging.
So, like as an example, it would be like if someone who was really good at running went on and went, "Oh, quite disappointed in myself this morning. I only did a 16-minute 5K."
Happens all the time. Jill mentions on Strava, she's like, "Really? This person said this?" Or, "Oh, phone broke down halfway through." Or, yeah,
exactly, yeah. And like, I've just got this. It wasn't the one that I wanted, but it'll do for now. And, you know, whatever they've got is like way above average. And it's just a way of kind of going, oh, look, you know, look at the stuff that I've got.
I'm better than you. I'm considerably greater than you.
That's what it reminds me of. It's the whole Harry Enfield character. We are considerably richer than a yo. So I reckon there is a business idea based around humble bragging, like the worst motivational speaker in the world that just goes on stage and says, look at all the things that I've got. You could have them too if you weren't so rubbish. What do you reckon?
You do know that me and you operate in that arena, and one of us is going to have to try it.
I'm going to try it.
Don't we have to have some stuff though first to be able to do the humble?
Well, we need some, but surely we know someone who has got some stuff that could do it on our behalf.
We could like borrow some stuff.
We could borrow some stuff, you know, mate. A nice house, a nice car, maybe, you know, something along those lines. It could be, but what would we call it? So motivational speaking based around humble bragging.
What about chat shit?
Chat shit.
Yeah, that'd work. What about chatty bang bang?
I like that.
What about talk out the park? You know, I'm literally, I feel like I'm in a game show naming stuff.
It's like catchphrase. No, it's good, but it's not right.
It's not right. Yeah, I don't know how you'd monetize it though, because surely people would see through your charlatan behaviour.
I don't know. Do you know there are a lot of people out there that make money by pointing out how bad you're doing with stuff. So it's a bit like your personal trainer.
The podcast people.
Exactly. It's a bit like your personal trainer analogy. There are personal trainers out there that spend the whole time going, move it, fatty. And whilst the majority of times they would get a punch in the face if they were walking down the street saying, oi, fat lad, get in the gym, there is a market for it. You know, like we also know of motivational speakers that swear on stage, you know, and they go, oh, you're shit, you're rubbish, you're crap, you know, and some people really resonate with that. So I reckon there is, I reckon there's a marketplace for it. But here's my twist on it. Not only is it someone using that tactics, they do it dressed as someone of the opposite sex.
Or like Honey G.
So it's called humble drag.
Oh, boom.
And on that note,